What if I told you that the United States almost failed during World War II? Today, America is remembered as one of the major powers that helped defeat Nazi Germany and Imperial Japan. But in the early years of the war, the U.S. was unprepared, vulnerable, divided, and dangerously close to disaster. When World War II began in 1939, many Americans wanted nothing to do with another European conflict after the trauma of World War I. The Great Depression had also weakened the economy, and the military had been neglected for years. In fact, the U.S. Army ranked far below the world's strongest forces, with outdated equipment, limited tanks, and low aircraft production. If war came suddenly, America was not ready. Then on December 7, 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on Pearl Harbor. Battleships were sunk, aircraft were destroyed, and thousands of Americans were killed. Overnight, the United States entered the war, but the attack exposed something terrifying. America's Pacific Fleet had been badly damaged, public confidence was shaken, and now the country had to fight powerful enemies on two sides of the world: Japan in the Pacific and Germany in Europe. The first months after Pearl Harbor were brutal. Japanese forces swept across the Pacific, capturing the Philippines, Guam, Wake Island, and much of Southeast Asia. American and Allied troops suffered repeated defeats. In the Philippines, thousands of U.S. and Filipino soldiers surrendered, leading to the infamous Bataan Death March. At the same time, German U-boats attacked American shipping near the East Coast, sinking tankers so close to shore that citizens could see burning ships from land. For many Americans, the war no longer felt distant. It felt close, and some feared submarines, spies, sabotage, or even invasion. America looked vulnerable and inexperienced. To survive, the nation had to do something extraordinary. It had to transform itself into a war machine almost overnight. Car factories began producing tanks, aircraft, and weapons. Women entered factories in huge numbers, symbolized by Rosie the Riveter. Shipyards operated day and night. Millions of soldiers were trained and sent overseas. But the transition was not easy. There were shortages, mistakes, accidents, and enormous pressure. If production failed, America could lose the war before fully entering it. This became a race against time. Then, slowly, the tide began to turn. In June 1942, the Battle of Midway became a major turning point in the Pacific, as American forces dealt a devastating blow to Japan's navy. In Europe, U.S. troops joined campaigns in North Africa and later landed in Italy and France. American factories began producing staggering amounts of equipment: planes, ships, trucks, guns, and ammunition. By the middle of the war, the same nation that had looked weak and unprepared in 1941 had become one of the most powerful industrial forces in history. What nearly caused failure became America's greatest strength. So why did the United States almost fail? Because victory was never guaranteed. America entered the war late. Its military was initially underprepared. Its enemies had early momentum. The public had been divided before Pearl Harbor, and the country had to fight across two massive oceans at the same time. If key battles had gone differently, if factories had underperformed, or if public morale had collapsed, history might look very different today. But the United States adapted faster than its enemies expected. It rebuilt its navy, expanded its army, outproduced its rivals, and helped lead the Allied victory. World War II is often remembered as America's rise. But before the triumph, there was uncertainty. Before the victory, there was fear. And before becoming a superpower, the United States almost failed.